Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. I am William Dada. This is from the CBN. Recovery from the economic setbacks induced by the coronavirus pandemic will demand close cooperation between the public and private sectors, says Christine Lagarde, President of the European Central Bank. In this regard, the Central Bank of Nigeria has led the way with its various economic intervention policies and initiatives. We'll be talking about some of these interventions today on the program. But first, let's bring you the top stories from the Apex Bank this week. The CBN has provided further clarifications on the term ultimate supply of products in its earlier directive on destination payment for all forms M, letters of credit and other forms of payment. In a circular to all authorized dealers and the general public from the Director, Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Uzomina Nnaji, ultimate supplier of products refers to the direct party selling the goods to the importer, irrespective of whether the party involved is the manufacturer or internationally recognized buying company, supplier, or agent. It also states that the name of the ultimate supplier of products should be the same as the beneficiary on the Form M invoice, bill of exchange, letter of credit instrument, and any other relevant document to the transaction. The Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria has released the Inflation Attitude Survey report for the third quarter of the year. In the report of the survey conducted between October 21st and 30th, respondents believed that the economy would end up weaker if prices started to rise faster than they did at the time. Given a trade-off between inflation and interest rates, more respondents preferred interest rates to fall than for inflation to rise. Majority of the respondents had no idea as to what influences the direction of interest rates in Nigeria. Similarly, the Statistics Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria has published the Purchasing Managers Index (PMI) survey report for November. In the report of the survey, which was conducted between November 9th and 13th, PMI stood at 50.2 index points, indicating recovery from contraction in the manufacturing sector recorded since May, that's 6 months ago. Transportation equipment, non-metallic mineral products, furniture and related products, cement, textile, apparel, leather and footwear, plastics and rubber products, food, beverage and tobacco products, printing and related support activities all reported expansion above 50% threshold. Thank you for staying tuned. This is from the CBN. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, UNCTAD, published a report yesterday, November 19th, titled Impact of the COVID-19 Pandemic on Trade Development, Transitioning to a New Normal. The report provides a comprehensive assessment of the economic knock-ons, projecting that the global economy will contract by a staggering 4.3% in 2020, and warning that crisis could send an additional 130 million people into extreme poverty. According to the report, the way the world economy is set up is partly to blame for the disproportionate impact on the world's poorest, who lack the resources necessary to respond to shocks such as the COVID-19. In Nigeria, however, the swift response of the Central Bank of Nigeria through its initiatives, which we shall be delving into shortly, has brought relief to many households and businesses. But which of these initiatives are Nigerians familiar with and have taken advantage of? We went on the street to find out.
I've heard about the Anchor Borrowers program of the CBN, of which my association have applied for some assistance.
I'm not aware.
I'm aware of that of agriculture. And yes, agriculture.
I've benefited from the Anchor Borrowers program. I think I'm aware of the youth, the loan that the youth can access, or small and medium enterprise businesses.
From my understanding, I think the intervention come at the right time, at least to cushion the effect of those people that they lost a lot during the NSAS protest.
Although they have written us a response to our application letter, but up till now we are still in the process of getting the application approved. Yeah.
The one I know is for, I don't know, I think one for graduates whereby like an internship, I don't know whether it's CBN or maybe Lagos State, I don't know whether that one is Lagos State. I also know the traders, one for the traders. I don't know their names, I don't know their institution, I don't know their names. I know there's one for the traders, there's one for SMEs, and I don't know about the household one.
I don't know. I only know some people that are agitating for it and go there. They say they are going for training. After the training, they will get the land and they will be giving grants. That's all I know.
It's a program that helps farmers to come together and they to form a cooperative, and then the CBN intervened by relating with the cooperative, giving them financial assistance to do whatever they want to do, agricultural wise, I mean. So I'm a beneficiary.
I've encouraged people, especially the youth in my church. Most of them were complaining that the links are not even going through. Some people say they will get a point, it will stop, it will not link them to where they will get the forms and fill it. So that is the real thing that the government should tackle. There are a lot of fraudsters. Before you know it, people will say, get to this link, get to it. People are also being defrauded, so people are skeptical about it.
Well, to my understanding and to my belief, no matter what the case may be, at this time, after the COVID-19, we all understand the economic situation we have in this country. At least we should always consider our country first. The interest of our country should be paramount to every one of us.
Nigeria is a rich nation of green land, rich resources, countless crops and commodities sufficient to feed and provide a means of livelihood for her teeming population. Chin up, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Exciting times are here. We can be self-reliant and grow our economy if we work together to explore our potential. It takes a whole nation. Let us get involved. Buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Governments and central banks around the world introduced policies designed to mitigate at least some of the negative impacts from the coronavirus pandemic. In the UK, for instance, the Bank of England announced the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, Bounce Back Loan Scheme, Coronavirus Job Retention Scheme, Self-Employment Income Support Scheme, COVID-19 Corporate Financing Facility, among others, to keep businesses afloat and ensure as many workers as possible retain their jobs. For its part, the government of Angola introduced some fiscal and monetary measures to help vulnerable people, including tax exemptions, VAT tax credit for imported capital goods and raw materials for producing essential consumption goods, a credit stimulus program, additional liquidity to support banks, and temporary suspension for debt service payment, among other measures. And here in Nigeria, the central bank directed all deposit money banks to increase support to the pharmaceutical and healthcare industry. It announced a ₦1 trillion support to boost local manufacturing and import substitution across critical sectors of the economy.
Like you all know, different governments are unfolding different types of stimulus or stimuli, and you would, like even in the United States, the United States government is using the United States Fed to release funding through credit to small businesses and manufacturing companies who will no doubt be adversely impacted upon, to ensure that they are able to access loans, soft loans, for them to be able to continue to run their business in the midst of this crisis. In addition to the 50 billion soft loans, which we announced on Monday to small businesses already, as we said, the CBN will increase its intervention by another 100 billion in loan this year to support health authorities to ensure laboratories, researchers, and innovators work with global scientists to patent and/or produce vaccines and test kits in Nigeria to prepare for any major crisis ahead. So far, total disbursements from the bank's interventions in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic amounts to 3.5 trillion, including real sector funds, about where 216.87 billion has been disbursed, COVID-19 targeted credit facility, where 73.69 billion has been disbursed, agric and a small medium enterprise AXMIS fund, where 54.6 billion has been disbursed, healthcare and pharmaceutical support fund, where 44.47 billion has been disbursed, and the creative industry financing initiative to the youths, where 2.93 billion has also been disbursed. Under the real sector funds, a total of 87 projects that include 53 manufacturing companies, 21 agri companies, 13 service projects were funded. In the healthcare sector, 41 projects, which include 16 pharmaceutical companies and 25 hospitals and healthcare services, were funded. Under the targeted credit facility, 120,074 applicants have received financial support for investment capital. As regards the agricultural and small and medium equity investment scheme intervention is concerned, we have so far extended a total of 14,638 applicants, while 250 small and medium enterprises, businesses, predominantly the youth, have been benefited from our creative industry financing initiative. In addition to these initiatives, the CBN is set to contribute over 1.8 trillion naira of the total sum of 2.3 trillion naira needed for the federal government's one-year economic sustainability plan through its various financing interventions using the channels of participating financial institutions. The MPC is thus using this medium to appeal to our important economic stakeholders to take advantage of these intervention initiatives to help support a quick rebound in growth and the Nigerian economy.
The CBN also introduced 11 intervention schemes to increase access to finance through interest-based and non-interest financial institutions, not one of which is the Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme, AGSMIS, an initiative to support the federal government's efforts and policy measures for the promotion of agricultural businesses and SMEs as vehicle for sustainable economic development and employment generation.
We decided to come up with this initiative because we feel that it's one way the weak and those who are vulnerable, those who under normal circumstances will not be able to knock at the door of a bank for a bank loan can access loan. We feel pained that over the years, over the past several years, that people attend this type of vocational training, either the art of sewing or the art of cosmetology or photography or different skills, and after those vocational training they are unable to access finance to continue to live a gainful life. And we thought through this means, once they've attended the training and they graduate from the training, we should make available to them the kits with which they can go into the world and begin to make money for themselves and for their family. So this is an opportunity for us to say that even those who are weak, even those who are vulnerable, they can also access bank loans for them to continue their life, feed their family, live a gainful life, employ themselves, and indeed also employ other people.
During the week, I had a discussion with prominent economist and MD CEO of Financial Derivatives Company Limited, Mr. Bismarck Rewane, on the intervention initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria and other economic matters. Here's what he said. How would you describe the current state of Nigeria's economy?
Challenged, difficult, light at the end of the tunnel.
Just as you have said that the economy is challenged, especially at the middle of the year when we were at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic, things were very bleak. And then the Central Bank of Nigeria came up with some initiatives to help cushion the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on households, on small, medium enterprises and other businesses. What's your opinion about those initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria?
They're laudable to the extent that, everything, all hands were on deck. But it wasn't just only the Central Bank. We had the Economic Sustainability Plan of the federal government, fiscal authorities. There were monetary policy incentives as well, all of it to reduce the impact of the pandemic. Having said that, there were also some policy initiatives, including forbearance for some borrowers, some new intervention money for various sectors. So there was a package. Could we have done more? Yes, but even that which we have done, we've seen the impact. And that is why when there was a partial reopening of activity, in spite of the pandemic lockdown, we saw an increase of about 57% in the value of transactions traded in the second quarter of this year, which was remarkable. Don't forget that the lockdown started on the last day of the first quarter. For the first 14 days, there were no checks being issued. The clearinghouse was closed all over Nigeria. So we saw checks in circulation drop to 10 billion from over 297 billion the previous month. But lo and behold, when we saw at the end of the second quarter, electronic payments and value of transactions that increased by almost 56%.
Now, talking about doing more, what other innovative ways could the government, the central bank, other agencies of government could bring succor? What other innovative ways could they bring succor and spur growth in the economy?
Well, let's do two things. One is responding to the shock is one thing, that's tactical. But prior to the shock, we had some pre-existing conditions in Nigeria, some fundamental and structural defects of the economy. So those structural defects should have been addressed simultaneously with the tactical response. I think we delayed some of those things that we should have done in March, and we started doing them in August. In other words, the deregulation of the petroleum sector should have been done in March rather than in August. The electricity cost reflective tariff should have been done in March at the same time. So as you are giving people palliatives, you're also taking some structural steps, strategic steps to correct, so that simultaneously you'll see everything moving in the same direction. So that as soon as the COVID effect wanes off, you will see the impact of the strategic moves begin to manifest in giving you what we call accelerated and sustainable growth.
And since that wasn't done, and it is just being done now.
Since that was delayed.
Thank you. Since that structural reform was delayed and it is only being carried out now, what do you think the effect will be on the people? Because actually people are groaning and complaining, and there seems to be like a roadblock, sort of, since the structural reform was delayed.
Well, my late father used to say, doing the wrong thing at the right time and doing the right thing at the wrong time will give you the same outcome. So, but we are where we are, right? So what we need to do is to ensure that that mechanism for market reform is implemented efficiently and effectively, so that the impact on the people, negative impact on people, is minimized, and the positive impact on the people is accentuated. So if you look at the projections in March, were that the amount of money going to the Federal Allocation Committee for sharing would drop to as low as 400 billion naira. The price of oil was projected to drop to $28 a barrel. What do we see? The price of oil has come all the way back to 40. In fact, dropped to 35, but $40, $42, right? And the exchange rate at which the dollars were being monetized for the state governments has actually been better for the government. In other words, from 320 went to 360, 360 to 380. So the governments are getting more money. The governments, this last month, 659 billion, I think, roughly, was shared, as against a negative projection of 400. So the question is, what has the money been used for? And what impact has this increased spending had on the people? That's the question that needs to be asked and interrogated. I'm sure the government has the answers, and the government will answer. Because definitely the money was not stolen or whatever it is. The money was used. Okay. So when we now see how it has been used, if it was not impactful in use A, we can now say, okay, why don't we move money from use A to use B or use C? So, one, what has the improved revenue situation of the government? What has it been applied towards? What's the impact of this application on the ordinary man? And if it's not optimal, how do we improve it so that the ordinary man can feel the full impact and the benefits of this improved revenue of the government?
Aha, you want to call the number? Oh yeah, wait. Oh yeah, 0.
No, now. Stop it.
What? I'll call you back. What?
Stop writing on the naira.
It's just 500 naira.
No matter the denomination, the naira is not a sheet of paper to be written on or crumpled. It is Nigeria's legal tender currency. The naira should not be abused by being sprayed or danced on at parties. The naira is not a shelf item to be sold or bought along the road or at social events.
So how will I celebrate with people when I go for their parties?
You can simply put your monetary gifts inside envelopes and present to the celebrants.
If I choose to spray encore?
You could go to jail for 6 months or pay a fine of 50,000 naira or both.
For real? I didn't know that.
Now you know. Spread the message. The naira is a symbol of our national identity. Let's safeguard its integrity. Don't abuse the naira.
This message is from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN.
Glad to have you back. If you're just tuning in, this is from the CBN. We've been looking at the economic intervention initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria in the face of global downturn brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic. We shall examine more of this and hear from beneficiaries of these schemes in subsequent episodes of the program. Do follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for updates. Send in your comments and inquiries using our email address, and visit the CBN website for more information, as well as their contact center for your complaints. If you have not benefited from any of the schemes, try to find out and do so. And that will be all for now. From the CBN, I'm William Zideda. Thanks for staying tuned. Bye for now. Stay safe.